Welcome to day 25. You've been watching my videos. This trail might look familiar. Mr. Miles and I are back out at Foster Creek. A little recovery today after the workout yesterday. If you missed the video yesterday, did 4 by 10 minutes, 2-minute recovery. Averaged around 6:30 pace. It's kind of a nice float pace. Did on my dirt road. So feeling pretty good today. Legs aren't bad. Not tired. I'm okay. Didn't have a good night's sleep, but it's all right. I'm out here enjoying the day, enjoying the trails. Taking it easy. Nice easy jog today. Got some treadmill hiking after this. 20 minutes, 16%, about 4.5 miles an hour. Gets me about 1.5 miles. About another 1,300 feet of gain. Gotta do some work on the treadmill. I turned it on for strides the other day. And it sounds like the back roller is squeaking, so gotta see if I can lube it. If that will work. They sent me the company sent me a roller a while back, in case it was a problem, and it wasn't at the time. But if I can't get it to lube and sound better, I'm gonna have to replace that. But other than that, I was just kind of thinking about a lot that's going on, you know, within the running world. All these articles that are coming out. Somebody posted the other day on social media, you know, they're asking about a study that was done. It said that long runs are bad for you, and HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training workouts, are better. Wasn't a very credited source or article or even a study, but we see these things and we perceive them for fact. And I think a lot of times, you know, that happens to most of us because our inboxes are flooded with, you know, publications, newsletters, always, you know, 7 best foods for you to eat, 7 best exercises for you to do. And we read them because we want simplistic, we want the best. But we don't always think about who are they geared towards, or, you know, who's the source that's providing this information, this data. And we get caught up in a lot of different, I hate calling them fads, but, you know, these different trends, we'll call them. And, you know, we try them for a while, don't find much success with them. We're hoping they're a magic bullet, you know, but they're not. It's, you know, there's something to be said about being consistent with everything you do, with your diet, with your running, and that's what I'm trying to get back to. It's just consistency of everything. You know, consistency of what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, my running, trying to do what's best for me there. I listen to so many podcasts, and I have my own, and I read so many articles, books. It's just, there's so much information out there. A lot of times we just, we don't analyze like what it is we're doing, and is that working or producing the results that we want. Training, is your training, is it doing what you want it to do? Are you getting the results you want out of it? Is there something you're missing? Again, you're analyzing. Could a coach help? What I always tell my athletes: hold me accountable. If you're not getting what you want out of your training, then we need to figure out what can we do better? What should we change? What aren't we doing? Or what are we doing that's causing a problem or not causing the result that we want? So, I think we just need to think a little bit more sometimes, and realize either we need to change something, or we need to be comfortable with what we have. Like, for instance, I've said it before, I'm 44 now. I'm not going to produce the same results that I did, even 5 years ago. It's just reality. I know it's getting older, slowing down. It's hard. I don't like it, but I have to accept it. I do everything I can to counteract the effects of aging. Strength training, still push my body, take my recovery days serious. So, I'm trying to do everything I can, and then I use trusted resources to help provide answers that I'm not sure about, like my dietitian, like my physical therapist. I've got a solid team of people, that I trust. When I get injured, I go see my doc. He's a sports medicine. He's also an osteopathic medicine doctor, just like my wife. I trust him. I trust what he's going to tell me. He understands my mentality. But so does my team. They know my goals. I'm explicit with my goals. Here's what I want. How do I do it? Is that attainable? That's a huge question. Is it attainable? Is it a reality? Can I do this? Yeah, I want it. But, in reality, is it feasible? And if so, what steps do I need to take to get there? I've got a coach. I've mentioned Patrick Regan. I trust Pat with my training. I tell him how I'm feeling. We make changes if I need to. It's just like with my athletes. So, communication is vital. I always say that when I start with an athlete. Communication, your communication, you telling me how you're feeling is vital. I use Training Peaks with my athletes, and it gives me a lot of feedback, a lot of data. I get scores. I can see if fitness is rising, if fatigue is rising, how race ready, an athlete is. It's got all these algorithms. But that's also what I tell my athletes, they're algorithms. The reality is I need to know, how do you feel on a daily basis? Give me feedback. Let me know. We have to take into consideration life stresses. Everything that we do that causes cortisol, running included, it fatigues our body. So if you've had a really stressful day at work and we try to do a huge workout, not a great combination. Too much stress. So, you know, what I was telling is, let's move the day. We talked about that the other day. But just know, you know, if you have resources that you can rely on, ask your questions. You know, like if you read a good article, if you listen to a good podcast and you like some of the ideas or wonder if they could help you, ask your trusted resources. Gain a second opinion. They may listen to it and, you know, have a totally different view. I have podcast guests on, and I let them speak. I don't interrupt. I don't interject or tell them, you know, well, I don't agree with that. I just, they have a point of view, and if their point of view doesn't meet mine, I may ask for a second opinion for somebody else just to see if I'm wrong. We were having a conversation on our team Zoom call last night, kind of talking about strength training, and you know, my podcast came out today is all about strength training, so it was a real relevant topic, fresh in my mind after talking with Coach Kelly Moylan about her views on strength training. I've lifted with Kelly. She coached me all the way through 2016 when I ran the B series, and I was super strong, felt super fit. I was training under Coach Philip Latter, you know, had a really stellar year, lots of work, big miles, you know, 2 to 3 strength sessions a week. So, you know, one of my athletes asked me, well, you know, Jason Koop argues against strength training for ultra runners. So we had a great conversation about, well, you know, there's different scenarios. I think Coach Kelly, if you listen to the podcast, would argue that all runners should lift. And she has her reasons and valid arguments. And Coach Koop has his arguments. And I said, well, you know, I think they both have merit. A younger runner who's super strong, not injury prone, might be able to get away with, you know, training, doing a lot of mountain running, a lot of climbing, descending, gaining strength in that regard. Whereas an older runner, you know, myself included, you know, we have a degradation of muscle mass as we age. Whereas strength training will stave off the muscle loss. So, you know, even as an ultra runner, running mountains and climbing and everything, whether that still gains me strength, I can supplement that and counteract muscle loss with strength training. Now there's a balance, and that's what we talked about. You know, we talked about it on the podcast too. Strength training shouldn't fatigue you. It shouldn't make you any more tired, and it especially shouldn't take away from your run. You know, you never want to lift to the point where you have to totally recover and can't do your training. So you have to find that balance. Find what works for you. Some people just do some core, which is great, especially if they're, again, prone to injury, you know, as I am. my right hip is, quotations, my Achilles heel. It gets weak because it gets fatigued. Then my form falls off and I get injured. So I have to keep that strength up. That doesn't happen if I just run more or if I just run mountains. I don't gain the strength in my hip that I need. It just exacerbates the problem. So, you know, there's arguments for and against, but you have to find what works for you. Again, don't take one person's view as fact. Find what's going to work best for you.